control of our consciousness.
I was just wondering why they've been playing this Nostradamus thing over and over and over again. You know, how many people are interested in all that? It's because they want people, the average person, to be aware of the things that are coming so that when it happens, they believe it because someone else predicted it.
And History
Yeah.
Channel is Illuminati as well. Freeman was talking about that in the Freeman perspective, all the corporations that are really ran by Freemasons.
And right, Freeman is a good, we showed that clip, he's a good resource for finding out the truth about what's behind the hidden occult symbols and what the families are doing and what this whole thing is really all about. A lot of
inside info.
And no matter how high a degree of a Mason or Illuminati you are, you really, some people really don't know how much evil that they're involved in, you know, how interconnected this is and how much truth is behind all this takeover. But there's an insatiable appetite out there for the families that have their mindset on taking over the world. And that's going to be the saddest thing to have to experience if we actually have to go through whatever it is, Armageddon and Revelations and all that devastation.
Something to be aware about. So 2012, something big happens. They announce something very huge, or you see alien ships appear at all corners of the earth. Expected around the Olympics time, because a lot of people were saying that, and some people have been killed, their blogs have been shut down, etc. So just be aware that that may be something that they're planning. We have a lot of evidence that, you know, point towards that, and everything is already written long ago. Like 9/11, people knew about that 5-10 years prior to that happening. It may have been pre-written 50 years prior, going as far back as that. So just something to be totally aware of.
And then there's certain dates that Freeman was talking about that, because he knew at 9/11 something was going to happen. He didn't know the towers because they have some sacred dates that have to do with the satanic and the occult that brings in, was it Beelzebub or some evil, powerful spirit or something like that. But it sounds very complicated and very Star Wars-ish, or vampires, or, you know, some kind of, you know, a sci-fi scary movie. But this is what they're using, and no wonder why there's so many movies and channels and you know, programs that are dedicated to this, because they're getting us conditioned. You know, once you're conditioned and you're used to seeing something, even if it is a false thing, it's easier for you to adjust to in your psyche when it does come. It's easy for you to say, surrender yourself to it, because it wouldn't be so alien feeling. And for those that are really, you know, really religious, that's the scariest thing, because, you know, they just feel, a lot of the religious people, they're just so much guilt and shame and pain and misery, and they feel like they have to suffer and they're bad, and, you know, there's so much duality in that they're the first ones that are going to be like, you know, take over, because, you know, we're not going to be able to do this ourselves. There's going to be so much fear, and that low density of fear is just enough to operate on this planet. So we have earthquakes and hurricanes and tsunamis and all this stuff going on at the same time, and then they have mind control, you know, through TV and movies, and then mind control through these HAARP microwave technologies. If you ever notice the people around you that it might be imbalanced, you know, chemically imbalanced, you know, bipolar or something like that, it's almost like so many people are just, you know, with all the medications and all the resources that we have available to us, there's some frequency that's making them go more, you know, it's like the worst of people are coming out, and they can't help themselves. And then there are many of us that are finding, like, you know, all of a sudden we feel like, you know, depressed or tired or sluggish, or we don't feel good. And it's all the chemistry, but they're actually using these things to try to break us down. And if they break us down little by little, every day we're closer to where they want us to be, so they can take over the planet. You know, it's easy for for them to do.
Yes, and it's very evident. And every time the news or the media does something, there's always an agenda behind why they're doing something. So it did make me question, like the other night, like why are they showing so many clips on, Larry King, and why did the Pope come out and admit extraterrestrial life when they've been hiding it all this time? It's all adding up. And why are more and more movies featuring aliens and UFOs and they're incorporating it more into our cartoons and our daily lives, Disney parks, and it just makes you really wonder. I think this Project Bluebeam is a very great possibility of what they're going to do in one shape or form.
And they have, they'll give you a little bit of that, and then they give you a lot of, the distraction with the Tiger Woods thing and the Salamis that came in and, broke up the White House party or what was supposed to be there. So they constantly bombarding you with a lot of different scenarios there.
Pointless information.
So that you're not focusing on, well, let me see what's really going on here. Oh, wow, this glamorous couple got in because they want to be a reality TV show. Oh, wow, Tiger Woods has 9 girlfriends now instead of 1 or 2, and they bombard you more with that, and then they give you tidbits of this other stuff. So you're not connecting the dots because the things that are more glamorous and sensationalized are the things that the news media is playing. Plus, there's a war going on. Another war that we can't afford. And are you ever going to have peace through war? I mean, for the hundreds of thousands of years that we've been doing it, it's never really brought anything but more misery and destruction. But, we have top officials that claim that this is the only way, and obviously it's the only way that they know how to work this, but it isn't really the way. It's the way that they're going to try to take over and just create a lot more chaos and confusion.
Right. And back in the day, they used to sacrifice people's lives, and it was a part of a ritual for the satanic, the world elite, secret society, Freemasons, Illuminati, whatever you want to call them. And nowadays, they're doing the same thing they did back then. What do you think war is all about? All the soldiers that are getting sacrificed, all these blood sacrifices that are fueling this, this negative vibration, this negative contaminated conscious that's, this field that's spreading, and those with low empathy or this low frequency that they're operating at, like you said, they're being possessed, and it's kind of like demonic, but they're being tampered with. They have the HAARP technology, to tap, into this vibration, this frequency, and control you through your own emotional state.
Right, because if you're not awake, it's going to be so easy for you to dance to their beat of their drum, so you have to be in tune and in alignment with the being that you really are, with the high vibration, the God, the energy, that divine energy. Let it flow through you. Start with a few days, a few minutes every day, and go on as much time as you possibly can. When you're you have a few minutes instead of watching TV, sit and just be. You don't even have to say, I'm going to meditate, I'm going to pray. Just be with yourself, so you know who yourself really is. Because there are, the fear will rise emotions that wouldn't even be your own real emotions. These are emotions that they're collectively global will be channeling through these things, and they can move the best of us, So we have to be strong, and we have to be steadfast on what it is our goal is. Our goal is to reach that enlightenment state, to have the Christ consciousness or the higher consciousness or whatever you want to call it come in, so we can be born again and move and evolve into this density where we have our own power. We don't need money. We don't need energy. We don't need all the garbage that they're trying to sell us. And we disengage in all this. This is where we're, our goal should be focused on, because they have no power over that. And it's just like the Wizard of Oz. Once you go behind the curtain, you realize he's just pushing a lot of buttons and putting a lot of smoke out there. But it's all mirrors and smoke, what they have. They really don't have any power unless we give it to them. So we're in a crucial time. We're in the balance. Right now, we're living in the time of the balance. We can go one way or another. And there will be those of us who know that will, I think, transcend and evolve into that density that we need, that we need to be, and help behind the scenes there. But there's so much misery and pain that's going to happen if we allow this to take